Now let's have, let's say, a high level or an overview on the key performance metrics, KPIs, that is involved when monitoring and controlling the project. So performance measurement is critical function and monitoring and controlling process. By using metrics like the cost, schedule performance, the project managers can gauge the project health and make necessary adjustment. These metrics provide insights to cost, the schedule, and overall, let's say, project health. And that forecast also can, these, let's say, KPIs that can be considered as a forecast that help to predict the future performance. Let's have an example of a construction project where regularly assessing the budget and timeline ensure that the project is on track. Metrics not only highlight the current performance, but also provide a foundation for forecasting the future outcomes based on the, let's say, trends, making them, let's say, indispensable tools for effective project management. Let's have first an overview about the earned value management, AVM. Earned value management, or AVM, is a powerful technique to assess the project performance. It combines the scope, schedule, and cost data to provide a unified view. It's used for performance evaluation and provides a holistic, let's say, view of the project health. The key components of the AVM, including the planned value, the earned value, and the actual cost, the CPI, the SPI, all of these we are going to discuss and understand each of their meanings. So remember when we were planning the project and we've set the milestones, we've set all of these activities with their deadlines, with the cost to each of these activities. Now think of these as the planned value or the PV as part of the AVM. The end value and the actual cost and the other, let's say, the planned value and the actual value or the actual, let's say, cost, it tells you about what is the real, let's say, action where what you have planned compared to the current status. So we are gonna cover the SPI, the CPI as well. The next slide, but let's here understand. Take an example. Let's say in a software project, comparing the planned value of tasks, for example, with the earned value, it helps you determine whether the project is progressing as expected. The actual cost then provides an insight into budget adherence. And this triangulation allows the project managers to make informed decisions to keep the project on course. Now to understand the let's say the cost and schedule performance, it's part of the APM or earned value management. Cost performance index or CPI, it measures the cost efficiency. The other hand, you have the schedule performance index, which is the SPI. It's used to measure the schedule efficiency. The variance analysis identifies the deviation both of the baselines compared to the current, let's say, schedule performance index or cost performance index. The CPI and SPI are key indicators in AVM that provides insights into, let's say, efficiency. For instance, let's say a CPI or CPI or cost performance index, which is equal to zero point 0.9, a marketing campaign means that for every dollar spent, only 90 cent of value is earned, which is indicating a cost overrun. Similarly, the CPI or SPI, which is the schedule performance index, such as zero point 0.8, signals delays in the schedule. Variance analysis dig deeper, identifying a specific areas causing these deviations, enabling a corrective actions to bring the project back on track. So think as the SPI that is below one, it have a signal of delays. Also the cost performance index, which is also less than 1, it indicates the cost overrun. The variance analysis and interpretation. So, variance analysis is essential for identifying the discrepancies between planned and actual performance. Again, the variance analysis compare the plan versus the actual performance, and the cost variance, which is let's say the CV, and the schedule variance, which is known as the SV, it's a pinpoint issues. Positive variances indicate favorable conditions, while the other hand, you have the negative variances, which have, let's say, which give you a signal of problems. So if these variances are positive value, it has a good, let's say, favorable conditions. But if it's a negative variances, by negative, as we've discussed in the previous session, when we talked about 0.9, 0.8, and 0.7, all of these are negative variances that have a single, let's say, problems. So think of the cost variance and the schedule variance as, let's say, pinpoint issues. For example, here, let's say in a manufacturing project, a negative cost variance, which is the CV of, let's say, $10,000, indicates that the project is over budget by that amount. Similarly, a positive schedule variance or the SV of the $5,000, for example, it suggests that the project is ahead of the schedule in terms of value earned. These insights allow the project manager to focus on the resources of addressing the problems areas effectively. We're going to cover all of these in more in depth, and we're going to see how to calculate each of them in more in depth in the later sessions. But now let's have an overview also about the techniques and the forecasting techniques in performance measurement. Forecasting techniques like estimate at completion or the EAC and estimate to complete, which is the ETC, which helps the project managers to predict the future performance. And this is part of the earned value management. For example, here in a construction project, experiencing a constant cost overrun, so calculating the EAC can provide a realistic estimate. The EAC, we say that it's estimate for completion. It provides a realistic estimate for the total budget required based on the trend. Also, ETC, on the other hand, or estimate to complete, it offers an insight into the cost of remaining work, enabling better financial planning and resource allocation. So remember, forecasting here predicts future performance based on the current trends. And remember, this is all part of the AVM. So the EAC and the ETC is part of the AVM. So estimate at completion or the EAC evaluates the total project cost. Also, the estimating to complete, which is the ETC, which identify the remaining costs. The role of trends in performance measurement. So trends in performance metrics provides, let's say, an important, let's say, aspect into future of the project measurement. Trends analysis identifies the patterns in project metrics. And remember that early identification of unfavorable trends prevents the escalation. So you as a project manager can take, let's say, a direct action to prevent this escalation. Also, as a project manager, you have to have continuous monitoring to enable a proactive management. For instance, if the CPI or the cost performance index has been constantly declining over the several weeks or becoming more negative in an IT project, it may be a signal presents the inefficiencies. And identifying such trends early allows the project managers to take corrective actions, such as reallocating resources or revisiting the project scope to avoid long term disruptions. Now let's talk about visualizing these KPIs. So Visualizing the performance metrics through the dashboards is a game changer in project management. Tools like the Power BI or Tableau or other, let's say, Microsoft tools, Jira, which provides a real-time updates on critical indicators like the let's say the CPI or Cost Performance Index and Schedule Performance Index, which is known as SPI. So these dashboards provide a real-time insight into the project health. And visuals simplifies the complex data for the stakeholders and enable you as a project manager to capture things more quickly and efficiently. So these clear visual enhance the decision making to you and to the stakeholders. How to integrate metrics with change management, or how the integration of these metrics with the change management. So metrics like the CPI and SPI plays a crucial role in change management. These performance metrics informs the let's say the required changes that it has to be submitted as a requests. So ensure that all of these change requests it's made to adjust and align the project timeline with its objectives. How to achieve that? By having a regular updates to ensure the transparency. For instance, if an aerospace project, if the SPI or the schedule performance index indicates a constant delays, a formal change request might be needed to extend the timelines or to reallocate the resources. Integrating performance data with change management processes ensures that the adjustments are justified, documented, and transparent, fostering the stakeholder confidence. Let's now have a look on one of these AVM real world examples. So let's take here a scenario where in a large scale infrastructure project, the project manager faced an initial delays due to the supply chain disruptions. So the scenario here is managing a large scale infrastructure project. And by continuously as a project manager monitoring the let's say the CPI or the cost performance index, the SPI, let's say the schedule performance index, they you can as a project manager or they can identify areas for cost saving and streamline the workflows. Also the EAC calculations help to forecast the total cost, enabling the team to reallocate the resources effectively. As an outcome or as a result, the project was delivered on budget, showcase the power of AVM and measuring the AVM in complex project. To summarize our session on these key performance metrics and including the AVM, we say that the performance measurement and key metrics are vital tools in monitoring and controlling the process. By using techniques like the EVM and variance analysis and forecasting, project managers gain a comprehensive view of the project health. Metrics in the AVM, including the SPI, the CPI, and the EAC and the PV, the plan value, and the other these KPIs, which we're going to cover in separate session, just to understand their meanings and how to calculate them. And we talked about how forecasting techniques to predict the outcomes and aid for planning, which help you to have a continuous monitoring and visualization to drive the data-driven decisions for your project health. So continuous tracking and visualization enables a better decision making, let's say, ensuring the project success.